Hello YouTube, we're on the real programming channel. I'm its host, my name is Andrei, I greet you, welcome. This is our 28th lesson. We're talking about HTML, PHP and MySqL and topic how to test multiple conditions with and or. Let's go talk about this. So, I get it, we can set use and empty to validate the $subject and $text form data. That's half right, we're really just checking to make sure the form data isn't empty, so empty is what we need. The $subject and $text variables are assigned values from the $_post subject and $_post with mail superglobals. If you test these variables with iset, it will always return true regardless whether or not they hold any actual text. In other words, iset doesn't show you the difference between a blank form field and a filled out one. The empty function to see a variable actual empty, which is what we need the form validation. Iset checks that a variable exists and iset empty checks to see if a variable has any contents. There are no dumb questions. So what's the point of using iset anyway? The iset function is extremely valuable when you need to know if a piece of data exists. For example, you can check if a form has been submitted via post request by passing the iset function $_post. This ends up being an extremely handy technique, as you find out a little later in the chapter. Rewrite the two if statements that check to see if both the subject and message body of Elmer send email form are empty. But this time use the empty function instead of equal in the test conditions. A call to the empty function replaces the equality operator is equal in each of the if test conditions. So, you will find all the code and materials of this lesson under this video. And this is our code. Solution of this exercise. I call the empty function replace the equal operator in each of the test conditions. The rest of the code is the same as before. And what if we need to only take a certain if form field is not empty, is there a not empty function? So, not. But there is an easy way to reverse the logic of any test conditions, the negation operator. And we know the test, the conditions that controls and if statements always results in a value of true or false. But what if the logic dictates that we need to check for the reverse of what condition gives us? For example, it would be helpful to know if Elmer's form fields are not empty. Before sending a bunch of emails with form data, problem is there is no empty function. Their solution is negation operator with exclamation point which returns true and into false or false into true. So exclamation point empty literally calls the empty function and reserves its result like this. The not operator is exclamation point return true into false or false into true. This condition asks is the subject field not empty or does it have data in it. So let's look on the next exercise. Fill in the blanks in Elmer's and mail.php code so that email only gets sent when both $subject and $text are not empty. Use if statement and the empty function. All my fields need to have values. So, this is our code. Exercise solution. If you're ready, let's watch. Continue next slide or not take a pause. This is our solution. All my fields need to have values. The exclamation point reserves the logic if empty function The first condition tag checks to see if the $subject is not empty. If not, good, now we check to see if $text is not empty. We had to put one if statement inside the other one to make this work. This is called nesting. If either a form data variable is empty, one of the if statement will be false and none of the code here will run, which means no blank email will be sent out, just what we wanted. We have to close off the action part of both of the if statements, the first brace and the inner if statement, and the second brace ends the outer if statement. Test drive, see if the empty form field validation works. Modify the code in sendemail.php to use if statement that check the form field data before sending a mail message. Upload a new version of this script to your web server and open the sendemail.html in the web browser. Make sure to leave at least one of the form fields blank and click submit. The body of the message is empty, which makes the form data fail validation. No email confirmation. Very well that nothing was sent, which is what we want, but some kind of warning message would be more careful than a blank page. So, joke. What if we had a bunch of fields in the form? Would we have to nest a bunch of if statement to validate them all? Owen's from earlier in the book an example of how more form fields result in a bunch of messy nested if statement. This bunch nesting makes it hard to keep track of curly breaks. Joe, I think you're right. If we want to make sure all these fields are not empty, we'll have to say to nest an if statement for each field. Frank, as long as we indent each line of code for each if statement, aren't we ok? Julie, technically yes, I mean the code will certainly work, no matter how many ifs we nest, but I'm worried about it getting hard to understand with so much nesting. Just matching up curly breaks accurately could be a problem. Frank, that's true. I think I'd also be a pain having to indent the action code so far. Let's see that 10 form field gives us 10 nested ifs with 10 levels of indentation. Even if we just indent each if 2 spaces, that 20 spaces before every line of action code. Yuck, Joe, but if we indent with lab tabs, it cuts that in half. 10 tabs versus 20 spaces isn't too bad. Julie, guys, the issue isn't really about the specific code used to indent the nested ifs is just not too good coding practice to nest if statements too deep. So deep. Think about it like this, we're really talking about one logical test condition are all our form fields non-empty. The problem is test condition involves 10 different pieces of data causing us to have to break it into 10 separate if statements. Frank, I see. So what we need is a way to test all 10 pieces of information data in a single test condition, right? Julie, yep. Then we could write one big test condition that checks all the form fields at once, awesome. Jill, yeah, but we're still missing the piece of the puzzle that lets us combine multiple comparison with a single test condition. Test multiple condition with an and or. You can build a test condition for an if statement with multiple checks by connecting them with a logical operator. Let's look at how it works with two familiar conditions, exclamation mark empty $subject and exclamation mark empty text. This first example involves two expressions joined by the logical AND operator, which is coded using and. The logical operator and operator, let's look into my text. So, don't forget, remember, you'll find the code and materials of this lesson under this video in the description link to Google Drive. The text extra parentheses help make it clear that the negation operator applies only to the empty function. This test condition is only true of both the $subject and the $text are not empty. PHP logic operator make it possible to structure more elegant if statements. The AND operator takes two true or false values and gives you try only if they are both true, otherwise the result is a false. So in this case, both form field must not be empty. In order for the test condition to be true and the action code for the if statement to run. Logical AND is coded as an AND, while logical OR is coded as this. The logical OR operator coded as like this is similar to AND, except it results in the true if either of the true or false values is true. Here is an example. Sorry, this example. That's not number 11. That's two vertical pipes. Just go backslash on your keyboard. This test condition is true if either $subject or $text are not empty. So the action code for this if statement is executed if either one of the form fields is not empty. Things get even more interesting if you want to isolate one form field as being empty, but the other having data like this. $subject must be empty and $text must be non-empty for this test condition to be true. Since this is test condition uses and both expression inside of the test condition must be true in order for the action code to be run. This means the subject form field must be empty, but the body field must have data. You can reserve this check by moving the negation operator exclamation mark to the other empty function. This is true only if $subject isn't empty but $text is. The and or logical operators make it possible to structure much more powerful test conditions that would otherwise require additional often messy if statements. So, next topic. Form users need feedback. We'll talk about this in the next lesson. And here is our 28th lesson about PHP and HTML MySqL is over. Thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel, please put like, share with friends, comment, eat bananas, eat chocolate and nuts, drink more water for the brain, do exercise, do meditate. That's all, thank you. Bye.